Hey everybody, AJ Puedan, and I had the thought in my head. I scribbled down a few notes and threw them on a PowerPoint. Thought I'd share them with you. For those who are into sales, I want to talk to you about some additional approaches to and some new ways of closing and selling. And I'm calling it the inspirational close. And so, first of all, just the idea of closing. Salespeople today, you really need to train like an athlete trains. So imagine, there's an athlete who's, wanting to be very competitive. They don't just read a book on their sport and say, okay, well, I read the book, now let's go out and play. And yet I see salespeople do it all the time. They read a book on sales or they'll attend a sales seminar and then they just go out and they just do it, but they don't do what an athlete would do. An athlete would take that information and they would practice the sport. So do you practice your sales? Do you practice your pitch? I used to come up with these cards of, mock, pretend customers. And I would have my staff do mock sales where they would actually practice that before they got into the place. So you need to practice your sales because, saying certain things in a certain way, you could either practice in front of the people, and if you do it enough times, you'll get better at it. And yet you can also practice in your car, you can practice, at your desk, at your office, you can practice because getting used to your mouth forming those words and saying it does take practice to sound smooth. And when it sounds smooth, you sound confident, and people have trust when you portray yourself as more confident. And so, for an athlete, they have their workout routine. For a salesperson, scripting and practicing script, that's your workout routine. And so and yet, don't get me wrong. When you script your sales presentations, the intention is not to deliver it like a speech. Okay, it's not that you say it perfectly all the way through. It's just that you get used to saying each chunk in each story. So therefore, when you have conversations, you can interject all those parts into it. So a football player practices, but he doesn't go on the field and do the exact same thing he does in practice because it's different scenarios. So you got to play with it. So. And yet I understand why people don't do it. It's more work. It is more work. And I understand some people just won't do it. They just want to go straight to doing it, and that's why they're going to get the results. So if you really want to be a master, you got to train your sales as if you are like an athlete. For myself, I've been in this industry for over 26 years. And it started off with, doing a lot of personal development. And in personal development, they tend to be really good at inspiring people to take action in their lives. However, a lot of times because they purely depend on a emotional state, they tend to lack structure and lack production and sales there. So they still get a lot of results, but there's still something that they're missing. After personal development, I started to move towards some more type of opportunities where it was like money making. And in that type of world of sales, I noticed it was really hard sales. It's a lot of kind of get rich quick things, and if you don't do this, you're going to suffer and pay and that kind of stuff. And although those were very effective as well, they also tend to lack connection, and because they lack connection, they also lacked holding on to that customer or the lifetime value of that customer. And so what I really want to talk to you about is kind of blending the both, a balance between ambitious sales and what I would call inspirational sales. And the ambition is because someone wants to achieve more. The inspiration is because they want to do something purposeful, and kind of blending the two things, both logic and heart together. So, and yet most of you have already learned a lot about selling out of ambition or logic, and I want to talk a little bit more about inspirational sales. So what it's not, it typically is not the get rich. You're not selling from only from the point of, look, get rich quick type of thing. It's not about high pressure sales manipulation, nothing that sounds or feels too salesy like. What it is about making dreams a real possibility. It's not, don't give me the pie in the sky type of pitch. Give me something that's real, something I can believe in. It's feeling trusted and protected. You as a salesperson, me as your customer, I trust you. I feel like you have my best interests at heart. You're going to protect me from making other bad decisions. Personal, there's a rapport with us, and purposeful. there is a higher purpose for that. So you want to have all those type of elements in it. When you're doing the inspirational sale, it's not just what you say. It's really, it's way beyond just what you say. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to say this. You got to pay attention to how you say it. For example, the telephone game is a what you say about talking game. The telephone game is where you got 10 people. One person tells the line. You tell the next person. Then you tell the next person. Then you tell the next person. By the time it gets to the end, the sentence that person is supposed to say is completely different than before, and that's because the what you say doesn't have as much of an impact, and it changes in people's interpretation. So what's even more important is how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Are you saying it in the positive, in the negative? It's all about the semantics. For example, in my mentality, I don't close people on my products and my services. What I do is I start people. I start people on a new career. I start them on a new life, on new results in their life. I don't close them. I start them. And those semantics can make a big difference in the way that you present yourself, as well as the way that you are received. And then again, it's why you say it, and that gets down into that purpose. So you want, about your purpose and their purpose. It's having that kind of trust there. To give you an example, one of the things I say nowadays is I no longer shop or buy seminars. I just don't do it. What I rather do is I rather meet and join or shop teachers, because it's who do I want to learn from. It's that type of thing that tends to be important nowadays. And so, not thinking, don't just sell your product or your service. Think of that these people are buying you, and so you've got to have that good why, and then that good, how you talk is going to be real important. In my field has always been, when you do inspiration correctly, the customer asks you for the sale. You don't have to sell them. When you inspire them, where they're like, oh my gosh, I got to do something, how can I do this? It's like, boy, is there, what way can I, oh, you have a way you can help me? Could you help me with this? That's the way to do it. So if you do inspiration correctly, the customer asks you for the sale. If you're not getting asked for the sale, think about how do you inspire people to do that more. All right. So here's my word of warning, though, when I tell you about this. What I see going on in the business sales world is a culture that is going from what I call an irresponsible hard sale, where you're selling things to people that you shouldn't be selling to them, that really isn't doing something good, but you're just, it's all about the money, just getting that. But it's going from that irresponsible hard sale to an irresponsible soft sale. And what that soft sale is all about is, you've got something amazing, and yet you're not letting people know about it. You're not giving them a chance to buy. And people are changing their sales process because what they saw they were doing was wrong. They're going, that hard sale goes, oh, that's not working, so we got to go to all the way to this other side, and that's not working either. And so it's really about having a balance between the two things. So don't get too far, although I'm talking inspiration, don't get too far away from remembering it is about a sales process. So you got to integrate those two things. So when you script a inspirational sale, remember, all starts off with your mindset first. Your mindset, your why are you selling this, and should you be selling this? If you don't believe in your product, then you have an obligation to stop. When you do believe in your product and service, then you have an obligation to sell it. And so once you have that, you gotta chunk it out into bits, the scripting process. The first thing I say is, what are the strategic points? What are the things that you need to tell the person, and just the logical points that they need to have in order to make that sale. Now, it's not just what you tell them, it's in what order do you tell them. And then you've got to actually script it. How are you going to tell them that? And then once you've done that, break it up, chunk it out, chunk it out, and to where you can use it in bits and pieces. Sometimes you'll be able to deliver the whole thing all at once. Sometimes you're going to, in conversations on one-on-one sale, you'll have to deliver those bits and pieces one at a time. All right, so here's a couple more quick tips before I wrap this some of my original thoughts up. Be authentic, be real. Your customer must know that you care. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So don't just turn up the pain. Some people turn up the pain to get people to take an action. Turn up the and understand that pain, like relate to it, connect with them on that level. Actually care and listen to your customers. One of the things I do is I take notes. Even if I'm on a stage selling in a group, I have a notepad and I take notes there, and that tells them I'm paying attention, I hear you, I'm listening. Therefore, they can have trust in you and trust in your system first. Be exposed, show emotion. These are some of the things that other people are not willing to do, and so therefore, if you are willing to do that, then you're willing to show your emotion, that you're doing something purposeful, that you really want to have their best interests at heart, and you tell them the reasons why. In an emotional story, people will say, okay, this person's real. This person's real. I connect with that person. Sometimes people talk about who they're associated with, their testimonies. It's like, hey, and they name all these successful people. People don't want just the successful people. Who are you associated that's inspirational, who's making a difference in the world? So just kind of think about who else could you associate yourself with that could also bring some credibility to not just your business, but also your heart. That would be awesome. Show your passion. Go off on a rant saying, oh my gosh, we've got to do something. If we don't do something, you and I personally, if we don't take charge of our own household, our own community, and our own environment, what's going to happen to us as a country? Go on a rant. Bring out current events. These are great ways to show your passion and almost go slightly out of control, but don't be out of control. Okay, be what perceived a little bit out of control because it shows your emotion there and your passion. The greater good of the world, so to say. Again, show your why it's meaningful to you. Those sort of things. And have a solution. When you have a solution, that's usually your product or your service. It's hey, let's do this together. You can even have this kind of feel before you even talk about your products and services. It's you got to create togetherness with them. Get them on your side. Get them on your team. When they're on your team, then they'll use your product and services. So share your stories. How do you get them togetherness? Share stories. I share my story with you. You share stories with maybe other customers. If you're doing this in a seminar, kind of workshop format, getting the attendees to talk to each other and share stories, great way to bring togetherness, interaction, get their name, get them speaking, enter their conversation. And as you talk about the conversations, start using the terms we, let's do this together. Create that togetherness. So anyways, those are some of my thoughts around scripting a inspirational close. Have a lot more ideas and concepts around that. If you want to know, send me a message and like this video, subscribe, go to my Facebook, go to ajpuedan.com, those sort of things, and hopefully, I know if you paid attention, you definitely have some inspiration for yourself about how you can make a big difference in the world. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you next round. Bye.